Because we're live, man, and welcome everyone to this newest episode of Kayfabe Corner. I'm your host, JPO, Jordan Pierce Owens, and I'm joined by someone else involved in the world of professional wrestling. This week I'm joined by a good friend of mine, ladies and gentlemen. You know him as the Brooklyn Juggernaut. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Romeo.
What up, y'all?
I'm not gonna do it. How you been, Romeo, man? First of all, now, especially nowadays, I always got to start off with just saying, how are you physically, emotionally? How you holding up in these fun times of 2020?
I'm doing good, man. Obviously there hasn't been a lot of indie wrestling going on because of the coronavirus, but I'm holding up pretty well. Emotionally, I'm great. 2020 has had a lot of downs, but there has been ups. I have a wife who is pregnant now.
So we got a little Romeo coming, huh? Another little Romeo, if you know it.
My son started high school, and my daughter is in college now. So it's a lot of ups there.
Yeah, our daughter, but that's a different joke for a different time. So no, that's good then, man. That's good that there's definitely some bright spots in 2020 for you as well, man. So congratulations on all that. That's all been very exciting to see from afar. So let's talk about another lady in your life, the lady of pro wrestling. Where does wrestling begin just in general, before you're in the business, just in your life? Where does it first start with you? Are you a fan first? When?
Oh, I'm always a fan first. I want to say I'm 40 years old now, so back in early 80s, first WrestleMania I saw was WrestleMania 2. So, I grew up with Hulk Hogan. I grew up with Brutus the Barber Beefcake, JYD, Andre, Haku. Just growing up with all of them, I was like, those guys are titans, and it's freaking amazing what they do.
Who was your main dude? Like, was there one particular person or a couple people that you were huge that you grasped onto?
Back in the 80s,
the first person that you were like, oh, I'm a huge so and so fan. Yeah.
Oh yeah, easy for me. It was Roddy Piper, hands down. Like he was one of the greatest guys on a mic and greatest heels back in the 80s.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick. So, when does your journey now into wrestling begin? Because I know you started a little bit later than some people here. So, when does the ball start rolling for you going, okay, I'm going to become now a pro wrestler?
I think I want to say I was about 30, going on 31, 32, somewhere around there. And I knew someone who worked at a radio station and was like, hey, come down to this indie show and check it out. And I'm always up for anything, so I was like, yeah, I'll go down. That's not a problem. I go down on the show, and I was like, oh, this is live wrestling, just like what we see on TV, but it's with indie boys. I'm all about supporting indie boys. So I want to say the first match that I watched, if I remember correctly, was Giovanni versus, I think it was Giovanni versus Justin Michaels, I believe.
You mean Matthews?
Yeah, Justin Matthews. Yes, not
Michaels. Is the manager. I was like, I don't remember that.
No, not Michaels. Matthews. Yes, Justin Matthews. And it was pretty dope. It was pretty dope because obviously I didn't know that they were related or anything, but just the way they freaking.
Now, this is New Era Wrestling. Is this Riverside? Is this outside? Where is this?
This is New Era Wrestling. This was at Riverside Community Center down in Fort Myers. And like I said, I had just probably moved into the area and stuff. So yeah, it was pretty cool. And I seen them wrestling and I seen them working, and I was like, wow, these guys are going hard for almost nobody. And when I say nobody, I mean, we probably had a crowd of 60 people there in the building. And I was like, but they're putting their all into it, and I appreciate it and I love it. And then I got to see, Tim Sarago, Michael Kyrane, Zach Monstar, and everything. Um,
And some great managers like
DB Harrison,
other
great
great
wrestler.
managers like.
Oh, Jordan.
Oh, okay, okay. You don't have to say that. Okay.
But that's where I met you guys, and it was kind of fun. So after that show, Tim Sarago, he comes up to me. He goes, "Hey man, how you doing?" I was like, "What's up?" He goes, "Did you like the show?" I was like, "Yeah, it was pretty dope. It was pretty fun." He goes, "Well, you ever thought about wrestling?" I was like, "Nah, man, I'm too old, and I'm I don't know. I don't think it's for me." He goes, "Well, why don't you come down to a training camp and see how you like it?" I said, "Okay." And then DB Harrison comes up to me right afterwards and says, "Yeah, why don't you come down to the school and we'll see what you got, and if you don't like it, you don't like it, and just go home." I said, "Okay." So we went into. I drove to North Fort Myers into this fabulous facility. It was like one of a kind.
It was better than the PC, right?
Oh, this is way better than the PC. You have no idea. Um, this was way better than the PC. We had a nice 16 by 16 low boy. All right. It was on top of a hill in mud. Um, we had tree stumps everywhere. We had, mosquitoes flying around. Sometimes instead of a canvas, we had a tarp on the ring. And we trained in the rain. So yeah, this is way better than PC. But yeah,
And we were brought up right in Fort Myers.
yeah. But I took my first bump and it felt good. I was like, okay, I can do this. This is not bad. So I did a training session that night, and that's where I met one of my closest and best friends, Zach Monstar.
Oh.
I met him that night, and ever since the day I met him up until now, I think Zach at the time was 1 year in at that time. He was about a year and a half in already. So we just started training hard together like almost every other day from there on. Somebody who worked with me a lot during this time was DB Harrison, Kenneth Hughes, Kenny. Kenny helped me a lot. But obviously Zach and I, we helped each other a lot. Scyther did also help me a lot too. But one person that always stuck out to me no matter what, and he was one of the quietest ones that ever came around, was Jesse Tupac. So him, hands down, I love him. I miss him every day. Hands down, that was one of the greatest trainers I've ever had.
Very nice. Yeah, very big shout out to Jesse Tupac. Great guy, I miss him too. So I know that, and I believe you've always just been Romeo. Was there any other previous gimmicks that you were thinking of? Anyone else threw out at you? And have you ever wrestled under anything else?
All right. So the reason I started off as Romeo was because I have a son who's autistic. So he was at the age, even now still is sometimes, at the age where he doesn't know if he can do the things that society says he can do. So I figured, hey, I'm gonna do it for him. So I carried his name. His name is Romeo. I carried his name with me to the ring every day. So every time I hit the ring, I made sure the announcer said, "Hey, Romeo." That's it. That's who I was. Period. Um, and other gimmick names that I went through were so far it's only two. It's only been two. Romeo, and the one I currently use now is the Brooklyn Juggernaut.
Again, I always fight you on that. It's a nickname, not a name, but it's a good
Well,
nickname.
I mean, it is what it is. So, I mean, that's what I do now. Gimmick wise, I've went through so many changes in my wrestling gimmick career. First thing I used to come out with, oh man, the Great Jake the Snake battle. I came out in with freaking, I think like almost a tracksuit with with a Puerto Rican Authority T-shirt and a baseball hat. And then, wow, after that, it was white shorts with the word Romeo on it, where haters make me famous. And then the famous radioactive pants.
I love them.
That's what got me over, were the radioactive pants. That's when I got over.
So all the fans need to know, this is the most requested question we had this week. Where's Eli?
So, okay, I had a tag partner when I started training. He was a big dude like me. He's a little bit taller than me. And we're both big guys. We are one of those guys. We decided, hey, we might as well just become a tag team, the big man tag team. And we couldn't come up with a name. We couldn't come up with who we were or whatever. So he got why my name was Romeo. He has a son named Elias. So he was like, screw it. I'm gonna name myself Eli. So that's where the name Eli came from with him. We tagged up for maybe about, I want to say 7 months, if that. He would come to training, then he would miss training, and then would come into training and then miss training, while I just kept going to training like crazy. Then it became a situation where we would start a couple of shows, and we did a couple of shows, and then he just kind of fell off. So I was kind of stuck, like, I don't have a tag partner, and all I know is tag team wrestling. So DB Harrison one day basically said, look, we're going to put, at the time DB was booking the shows, he said, look, I'm going to book you in a singles match. That's it. And, you're going to have to start carrying your own weight. I was like, all right, cool. And I started doing singles matches, and I've been doing single matches for a long time now. And I do have a new tag partner now, but
Who's your new partner?
He's been my partner for the past 2 years. Big shout out to Defro Jeffro. Me and him held the WXW tag titles for a little while. And he's one of my closest friends also, so big shout out to him. And
Very nice.
And yeah, I just been doing singles for a lot of the time, and it helped me learn about the indies a lot more, traveling by myself or traveling with Zach or traveling with friends and stuff, just learning the business.
Do you and Death Row have a name?
We did, and then it changed again. We had Justin Michaels, ironically, as our manager. Our team was called Jeremiah and the Juggernaut, because his worker name is Jeremiah McCoy, and then you have me, so it's Jeremiah and the Juggernaut, because Justin figured, hey, it sounds like a holy book, so we're gonna use it like that, and we did, and we got. It
sounds like something I would watch on ABC on Saturday mornings. Jeremiah the Juggernaut.
There you go.
Well, what is it? Did it change though? Is there a second name now?
It's changed because we added a third person, and it's JD, and now it's called The Reckoning. So it's more of a stable per se. So it's a growing thing.
What are some of your favorite matches that you've had? Singles, tags, just in general. What sticks out to you?
One of my favorite matches was a tag match. I was part of a group. I'm one of the founding fathers of this group, the Barrio Kings. Jordan, love the Barrio Kings.
Love the Barrio Kings. Wait, was I in the Barrio? What was our group in AMP?
What happened?
Was I in the Barrio Kings? What was the group that we were in the AMP?
Yeah, you were part of the Barrio Kings at that time.
Alumni.
So I want to say that the one that sticks out the most for me was me and who was my tag partner? Big O at the time. He was part of the Barrio Kings for a very short stint, but he was. We were wrestling in Newport Richie at CWE, and we were wrestling against Lindsay Dorado and John Cruz, aka Serpentico. So we were supposed to have a match with them, but they bartered us from ringside because they were wrestling some other tag team. So the gimmick was we had to kind of run in on them. So we did a run in. We ran in, and I started beating up John Cruz. Lindsay jumps on my back, starts hitting me. Big O grabs Lindsay, and then we start beating up Lindsay together. John Cruz basically grabs one of the railings it's like the pipe and drape, but he grabs the railing, chucks it up, uses it as a spear to literally try to spear us as we're running out of the ring.
So I've seen this match. I was there live. I remember that now.
He runs out of the ring trying to spear us. And then it's set up for another match with us where Pretty Boy Poppy became my tag partner at the time. So it became the Barrio Kings versus Lindsay and John Cruz. That was for me hands down one of my favorite matches because they trusted me to do certain things in that match, but they also said, look, for a big guy, you can move. We're going to teach you to move. We're going to make sure you move really good. So that was the first time in that match I have ever took a superplex off the top rope. So I trusted them. I know they know what they're doing. So I just said, all right, let's do it. So I remember very clearly, they set me up on the top turnbuckle at the corner, and I kind of ribbed them also because I knew what they were going to do. John comes running up to me, and he jumps on the second rope to grab me. But as he's running, I kind of do one of these things to him. And he looks at me and he goes, oh boy, this is going to hurt now. And then Lindsay comes running, and I do the same thing. And he goes, oh, you fucker. They both grab me. They both superplex me. And then the crowd just popped. When I say they popped, like, they pop. Yes, I'm a heel. I don't care. But if I'm able to help that babyface get a big reaction, to me, I did my job. That was so freaking awesome just to hear that pop. Because the way they sold it, I'm a big dude. I hit the mat. Boom. They bounced. The referee bounced. Everybody bounced. They were like, oh, my God, he's dead. And I kick out. And then after that, the move right after that, Lindsay goes up and he does shooting star. Was it the shoot? No, he does a moonsault. Does a moonsault on me. And then they both lay on top of me to make sure I don't kick out. They got the 1, 2, 3. But for me, hands down, one of my best matches, favorite matches of all time.
Anything else? Any others stick out to you? A couple others, or?
I want to say the one that's heartfelt to me was winning the NEW Florida State title. It was a four-way match. Both the heavyweight title and the Florida State title were both on the line. At the time, Deacon Starr, that was his name, but now it goes by Johnny Rudo, I believe, and Zach Monsar were both champions. And if I remember, it was me and Draven Frost. We were both the challengers. And basically, the first person to pin whomever is the winner of that title, and then the other one wins the other title, whatever the case. For, I think, a year, the GM of NEW kept putting me in a match with Deacon Starr. countless times.
Are you
So,
sure?
yeah, I am positive. And every time Deacon would just win by that much, by that much. So every time he would get me, pin me, cheat, hit me with the belt, all that stuff. So yeah, I only had one more opportunity. Jordan Owens, the GM at the time, said I had one more opportunity and said, well, you could get the heavyweight title or the Florida State title. You pin whoever. I said, okay. So me and Draven, we had a great match with Deacon and Zach that night. And I won the NEW Florida State title that night. And I still have it to this day.
You're supposed to give that back to management, sir. So if we could get our title back, that'd be great.
I still have it to this day, ironically. But yeah, that was one of my favorite matches too, because winning that title for me, was a big deal because I want to say you guys and management and everything else, you guys entrusted me with holding a title and saying, okay, you got something, you can run with it, you know what you're doing now. So, oh, there goes the match. Yeah. All right. Wow, this is so long ago. This is what, 2015? Yeah.
As of 5 years ago, yes, sir.
Jeez, that was so long ago.
Over 5. It was uploaded then, so it might be a little, yeah.
Yeah. But I remember that match. That match that night, I want to say, I remember going backstage after winning that title. That was my first title I ever won. And it was down in Fort Myers, and I will always carry Fort Myers on my back, regardless. I will always make sure and let everybody know that that's where I trained, that's where I came from, was Fort Myers.
What is speaking of Fort Myers and all of course of state of Florida and above too?
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite promotions and locker rooms to be a part of?
Obviously, NEW. To me, even though NEW is not around no more, that was a really, it was a good locker room. That was one of my first places to ever wrestle. Let me see. I want to say Real Pro. We'll talk about Real Pro later, but Real Pro is another favorite because that's still home for me. The WXW, I love the WXW locker room. Like, that locker room is a very humbling and it's a very family oriented type of locker room. And unfortunately, even though this company's not really around no more, I did like the CWE locker room because that's where I met a lot of my close friends.
What are some dream matches you have here in the state of Florida? Who have you seen and man, oh, I'd love to get in there with him.
Oh, first person that comes to mind, honestly, Barrington Hughes. That's it. Barrington. Like, I have a list of people I would love to wrestle before I retire, because I am going to retire very soon. Yeah. Yeah, I said it here. I'm going to retire soon. But there are a few people in the state of Florida I would love to wrestle before I do that. Barrington is literally on the top of that list. I want to wrestle Barrington. Me and Zach, we have wrestled, let's say, privately on, like, at training and all that stuff or whatever. We've wrestled against each other on shows, but like in tag matches. Me and Zach Monstar, we need a one-on-one match together before that. I do want one more match, and I am going to specify who. I need one more match or a few more matches with someone who helped me, and I would never deny he's helped me. He's actually, he doesn't know this, but he's helped me build my character on who I am now from all those matches working with him. is Johnny Rudo. I want to wrestle another couple of matches with him, just so I can kind of prove myself to him that, hey, I'm a lot better than what I was before. Um, Vertigo is another person I would love to wrestle. Um, I love wrestling Chico Adams. Shout out to Chico Adams. I've wrestled him so many times. He's a great performer. I would never mind wrestling him again. But yeah, Barrington is on the top of the list.
Interesting. Yeah, I know a certain company that could put on all of those matches.
I mean, if they could, let's do it.
The next question now after the last bomb you dropped. I'm going to save the next question for a little bit later here. A kid comes up to you after a show and he goes, "Mr. Romeo," and he's tugging on your shirt and he says, "That was really great. I want to be a pro wrestler too one day. Do you have any advice? What advice do you give someone that's thinking about breaking in?"
If you're thinking about breaking in, it doesn't matter on your age. I think I kind of proved that to a lot of people. You could be young, you could be old.
I'm making my debut soon. You've given me hope here. I'm gonna start a debut here pretty soon.
I was really old when I started, so I mean, if somebody comes to me, I've had a lot of people come to me and say, "Hey, how do I start?" Or I'm thinking about being a pro wrestler. What do I do? Whatever. The first thing I tell them is, listen, it's not easy, and if you wanna dedicate yourself to it, it takes a lot out of you mentally and physically. Right now, I have, because of wrestling, I wish I could lie about it, but because of wrestling, I have a herniated disc and a slip disc in my back. Between my L4 and L5, I have fluid building up in there a lot. So I technically shouldn't be wrestling, but I still wrestle. So yeah, I mean, if you wanna do it, there are a lot of schools out there that I personally would say, okay, go ahead and go to. But yeah, as long as your heart's in it, that's all that matters. Your heart has to be in it. If you're doing it because it's a hobby, or if you're doing it because, I want to be like Matt Hardy or Jeff Hardy, don't do it. Do it because you want to do it. It's in your heart, and it's something you want to do.
A new segment on the show is: have you seen any good movies lately?
Oh, wow. What did I watch recently? Can it be Netflix also?
Sure, whatever's good, whatever pops in your mind.
Um, over the course of the summer and stuff, I watched a movie called Hereditary. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Oh yeah, I like that movie a lot. Yeah,
That movie's a sick and twisted movie, and I like it.
it's good. It's good.
That's one of the movies over the summer I watched, and I was like, yeah, this is really good. It's an old movie, but I liked it a lot.
It's only a couple years old. It's not that old.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Let me see here. So, usually one of the questions is, well, here, okay, again, I'm gonna save that because that's how I want to wrap it up here. Let's talk more about your recent times here. Real Pro. Any updates on Alpha Omega? Is there anything flowing above here for Romeo in the next few months?
So Alpha Omega right now, just like any other wrestling company, if they're smart, is on hold because of the coronavirus. We can't mindfully host a show and not worry about the pandemic that's happening right now. A lot of companies that are running, utmost respect to them, and hands down to them. But for me personally, I kind of want to wait till Florida's a little bit better before trying to put Alpha Omega back together again. I tried to do Alpha Omega for WrestleMania week, and we had a great week lined up, just like everybody else did, and clearly the virus won, so we had to put that on hold. That was going to be a great show. And then Real Pro definitely has a big spot in my heart for sure. and you know this, Jordan, when we're gonna get into that. Okay, when NEW kind of like died off and went into the sunset. Yeah, myself, Jordan Owens, and Zach Monstar says, yeah, we're not going to kill wrestling in Fort Myers. And we decided to come up with Real Pro Wrestling. And we put a lot of hours and a lot of sleepless nights and a lot of drinking and a lot of coin flipping.
So my least favorite method of making a decision.
We did. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm sorry, Jody, but I got to let them know. A lot of the decisions in Real Pro Wrestling, when myself, Zach, and Jordan were running it, came off of a coin flip. So you're welcome.
I see a lot.
Listen, a lot of it did. When we were booking people, we said, do we want this person or not? Flip, nope, next. But I'm really proud of what Real Pro has become now. Obviously, I stepped away from Real Pro very early because of a lot of personal reasons and a lot of things I was personally going through, and I needed to at the time. And then I made my return back to Real Pro, I think, what was it, last year, I believe. And it felt very humbling. And it felt really good to come back to Real Pro because that was basically where I started, was in Fort Myers. So for me, that's coming back home. And I thank you and Zach for that wholeheartedly, for allowing me to come back to something that I helped started, but you guys have made it your own. So hands down to you guys for making it your own. You know, Real Pro definitely does have a big place in my heart, for sure.
So you hinted towards the end here, because one of my questions is always, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And you hinted towards retirement of wrestling. So that, I mean, in 5 years, are you done with wrestling? Are you done with it in 2? What's the current plan here?
So right now, I do have a baby on the way with my wife, Ashley Mayberry. We have a baby on the way. It's not some.
Jordan is a great name, either sex. Just throwing it out there.
It's not something that I wanted to throw out there, but I am a dad first, regardless, and I am very present in my children's lives. So I want to make sure, even with this baby coming, I want to be present within my kid's life, because if you're a wrestler, you know you're on the road a lot. You're definitely on the road a lot. Once you start getting bookings become more bookings, become more bookings, become more bookings, and then literally life starts to run by you fast. And it's not something that I want to do. What do I see myself in 5 years from now? I want to say I will be running Alpha Omega and helping do some big things within the wrestling community, hopefully helping young guys get started somewhere. Hopefully partnering up with Real Pro again, but doing something statewide instead of just one spot. So as far as retirement goes, depending on this coronavirus, I mean, I want to say a year and a half, maybe 2 years tops. Because, I mean, realistically, I'm 40 years old now. I may look like I'm younger. My body feels older.
You don't look a day over 39 and a half.
Thank you. But my body definitely feels older, though. It definitely does. Wrestling has taken a toll on my body with all the bumps and everything. So yeah, and at the end of the day, I want to make sure I'm a dad to my new baby, and I want to make sure my kid knows that daddy's present no matter what.
Very nice, very nice. Any plugs for the people out there where they can find you?
Yeah, they can find me on social media. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me MannyFresh628. You can find me on Facebook, the Brooklyn Juggernaut. Same thing with Instagram. Instagram, it's Brooklyn Juggernaut _ Romeo. And I want to give a big shout out to Zach Bonstar on this great shirt that I ordered from him. It's basically curb stomping pedophiles. You know what I mean? So if you have not picked up a shirt from him, I would suggest going on to the Zach Monster t-shirt shop and order yourself one.
Very nice there. Very nice. Any parting words for all the ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls out there?
Um, you're never too old to start in this business, and always be humble. Always appreciate those around you, and always appreciate everyone who has something to say. Whether you're a vet or a rookie, pay attention to everything that everybody says, because you're always learning something every day.
Very nice. Very well put there. I agree. I agree. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was the Brooklyn Juggernaut Romeo, aka Puerto Rican Authority, Barrio King founding member, as well as Juliet's co-dad. I think we did great.
And the real pro founding father.
Founding father, me, him, and Zach's heads on a statue one day. I can just see it.
I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen.
All right. Well, thanks for checking out Kayfabe Corner. I hope you enjoyed this episode here and do all the things you know to do here on YouTube or Spotify and all those other Stitchers that we're on. I'm JPO, and as always, keep it Kayfabe. Yeah, the show that comes off one more time, didn't you?